Italia 90. What do you remember of Italia 90, Michael? Obviously, I put out a tweet today about people's memories of it. Obviously, the one thing that everybody kept coming back to, and as an Irishman, it kind of hurt a little bit, even though I wasn't born. But what's your memory of it?
Well, to be honest with you, it's just a whole thing because it was my first World Cup. It was my first tournament that I watched. I was 8. I had nothing to worry about in the world, so I could watch football on ITV, BBC, um, almost every day for a month. It was just fantastic.
He really was one of those World Cup wonders, wasn't he? And as you said, maybe that kind of highlighted the quality of football in that World Cup wasn't the greatest.
No, I think Scalacci is an interesting one because he'd had a really good season with Juventus the season before, and that's he got sort of literally was the last person to be called up. It really should have been Viali, Mancini, or Viali and Baggio up front, but he obviously stuck with sort of Carnevale and Viali for the first game, and it just didn't really click. I think Viali was carrying a bit of an injury, and he was the guy, the golden boy of Italian football as a number 9, and obviously Baggio was the emerging player in the background. He just gone, I think, to Juventus from Fiorentina for a world record. Um, and they just weren't clicking, and Scalacci just came off the bench and took his chance. And you rightfully said he only scored one other goal after that World Cup, and he literally was almost a 1 month wonder. That month he was just everything he touched turned to gold. He scored a brilliant goal against Uruguay,
Mm.
where a couple of goals were headers, and the goal against Ireland was the one where I think Donadoni takes a shot, Pakibona spills it, and then he puts it in. And I'm sure you don't want me reminding you of that, but yeah, um, yeah, but he was, again, he was a player that had a great tournament. Players like Roger Miller, he had a great tournament.
I suppose one of the big things in 1990 Italia 1990 was the emergence of Cameroon, who really before that there was no real African side had done anything of note in the World Cup, and Cameroon sort of kind of put Africa, the continent, on the map of football. So I believe, reading about it, watching it, and stuff like that. Obviously, the celebration of Roger Miller, which a lot of people alluded to in that tweet that I put out about the Italia 90 memories. What do you remember of Cameroon? Were you shocked by them? Were you delighted by them? What was the kind of feeling about them?
I think they shocked me at first because, of course, they beat Argentina in the first game.